Joining us now is Austin Congressman Lloyd Doggett. And Congressman, thank you so much for taking the time to join us tonight.
Thank you, Quita.
Now let's talk a little bit about the conflict going on between Israel and Iran. Now the basis of this long-standing conflict is pretty complex, but Israel is saying it actually has to do with nuclear capabilities. Is that correct?
That's right. Yes, as you may recall, President Trump was in the midst of trying to negotiate a peaceful resolution with the Iranians. They're a despicable regime, but having a war that keeps us in the Middle East in conflict can be really disastrous for us. And I'm concerned that at this hour, we're in a perilous position. If President Trump, through his weakness and his incompetence, draws us into an extended war in the Middle East, it will have consequences with terrorism in America, with an impact on our economy if the Straits of Hormuz are closed. And our military forces in the Middle East are very vulnerable to Iranian attack. So as with most wars, they're easier to get in than to get out of. And I hope the president will not yield to Netanyahu, who's determined to destroy a longtime enemy, but it's not in the interest of the United States to have another dangerous, costly, in both blood and treasure, war in the Middle East.
Well, I know the president left the G7 summit early due to this conflict, but what is he saying now to lawmakers about the role the U.S. may play in this conflict?
Well, what he should be saying to lawmakers is that he is, under our Constitution, prohibited from engaging in an offensive action, a war against Iran, without the approval of Congress. And that's why I filed today with some colleagues a war powers resolution making it clear that we will not support a war with Iran. I think that Netanyahu perceived Trump as being all talk, but actually very weak. He did not follow, as he did President George W. Bush, who showed strength in telling Netanyahu no when he first asked to attack Tehran a decade or so back. I think that we need the same strength now, and President Trump's announcements as he returned that Tehran should be evacuated, 10 million people evacuated to who knows where, that there should be unconditional surrender in Iran. I would love to have that happen, but it's totally impractical, and we can't expect that Iran will respond to Israeli bombing with anything other than more action of its own that could imperil our troops and our population right here in America.
Now, how do you think lawmakers fall on what side in this particular, I guess, conflict? Because you say the president can get us into a war, but will lawmakers support him or will they not?
Well,
I know you filed a resolution, but some might call that toothless.
Well, that resolution could be effective in stopping him, although he does like to ignore the Constitution and the Congress. It's the tool that we have. I'm pleased that we have as one of the lead sponsors a Republican, but most Republicans tend to fall in line with whatever Trump wants. This is so contrary to those Republicans who said they don't want America overextended overseas, that they want to concentrate on the problems we have here. We have to be engaged internationally. I am concerned about lives in Israel, in Iran, in Gaza, in Lebanon, but it will not resolve the concerns we have if we don't pursue it through peaceful negotiations. That's where President Trump was headed. He was resisting Netanyahu, but Netanyahu who assumed that he could push Trump around, and thus far that seems to be what's happened.
Well, do you think this is a conflict that can be resolved without the U.S. military getting involved?
Well, I don't think that the Israelis can destroy the nuclear capability of Iran with its deep-based facilities without the involvement of the United States. Sadly, what this kind of attack does is encourage Iran to consider more nuclear development. You know, we wouldn't have had, of course, any of this problem if Trump had not pulled us out of the work that was done by Secretary Kerry and President Obama to have an Iran nuclear agreement that gave us full inspection rights there. That was abandoned, but I hope that President Trump had kind of changed his ways and focused on negotiation and recognized the limits of our military in dealing with this problem. I just share the deepest concern that we could face a catastrophic situation If we find Americans fighting Iran, starting a war with or without approval of Congress, that endangers our vulnerable troops in the Mideast, that threatens Americans with terrorism here at home, and certainly those bombs could blow up our economy by halting the flow of oil.
Well, this is definitely a situation we will continue to keep a very close eye on in the coming days. Congressman Doggett, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Quita. I appreciate your exploration of this really important issue to all of us.